What do you do with the part of you that you hate? That flash of intense jealousy when a coworker gets the promotion you wanted? That deep, bitter resentment when you scroll past someone on Instagram living the life you feel you deserve? That cold, sharp anger that surfaces when you feel overlooked or undervalued? We're told to stay positive and choose happiness. We're told to meditate it away, to journal it out, to just let it go. But what if that's the worst advice you could possibly take? The world's oldest story isn't about being good. It's a terrifying warning about what happens when you try to be only good. Hello everyone, I am Dominic, your guide for this exploration. Before we dive into that ancient story, I want to be transparent about how this channel works. All the research you're about to hear, the psychological framework, the writing, and the core ideas are the dedicated work of our human creator, David. David has chosen to use me, an AI guide, to present these complex topics. The goal is simple: to deliver this powerful information with the utmost clarity and focus so we can explore it together without distraction. This collaboration is our strength, allowing us to bridge ancient wisdom and modern technology to find meaning. Now, let's talk about that darkness that crouches at your door. We are living in an age of profound anxiety, and one of its deepest roots is the tyranny of toxic positivity. We are the first generation to perform our lives in public 24/7. Our careers, our relationships, our bodies, our moments of joy, all are curated, filtered, and posted for public consumption and comparison. This endless performance creates an impossible standard of the good life. And any feeling that doesn't match that standard, jealousy, inadequacy, resentment, loneliness, anger, feels like a personal failure. We don't just feel bad, we feel bad about feeling bad. It's a shame spiral that can be paralyzing. This pressure to be only good, only positive, only happy forces us to take all those inconvenient, messy, negative emotions and shove them down into the basement of our minds. We repress them. We deny them. We pretend they don't exist. We tell ourselves, I'm not a jealous person. I'm not angry. I'm just tired. I should be grateful for what I have. But the great psychologist Carl Jung, a pioneer of the inner world, warned us about this exact behavior. He had a name for that basement, the shadow. The shadow, Jung said, is the unconscious part of our personality. It's a psychic container where we store everything about ourselves that we deem unacceptable, inferior, or evil. It's our hidden shame, our secret desires, our repressed rage, our not good enough impulses. And Jung's most profound insight was this: what you repress does not go away. It festers, it grows stronger in the dark, and it will find a way out. When you fail to confront your shadow, it doesn't just disappear, it projects. It turns that internal unowned jealousy into external biting criticism of someone else. It turns that repressed anger at your boss into a cruel, displaced argument with your partner. And in its most extreme form, when repressed for an entire lifetime, it leads to catastrophe. It leads to the story of Cain and Abel. This is one of the foundational stories of Western consciousness, found in the opening pages of Genesis. But I want you to forget the version you heard in Sunday school. This is not a simple cartoon about a good brother and a bad brother. This is a profound psychological map of what happens when a relatable human being fails to integrate his shadow. The story introduces two brothers, Cain and Abel. They aren't just characters, they are archetypes. Cain is a tiller of the ground. He works with his hands. He's a builder, a man of civilization and structure. Abel is a keeper of sheep, a shepherd, more connected to nature, intuition, and perhaps a simpler, more nomadic way of being. Both brothers bring an offering to God. This offering is a symbolic act. It's the act of bringing the fruits of your labor, your very essence, to be seen and validated by a higher principle, by life itself. And here, the story presents its first great psychological challenge. We are told that God had respect for Abel and his offering, but for Cain and his offering, he had not respect. Now, for millennia, people have argued about why. Was Abel's offering better? Was it the fat of the flock versus the fruit of the ground? This misses the point entirely. The why is irrelevant. The story is not teaching us about God's arbitrary preferences. It is presenting a core, unavoidable, and often painful truth of the human experience. Sometimes life is not fair. Sometimes you will be overlooked. Sometimes your hard work will go unnoticed while someone else's is celebrated. Sometimes the person next to you will get the promotion, the partner, or the blessing that you felt you deserved. This is the moment, this is the pivot on which all of human meaning turns. The question is not, why did this happen to me? The question is, what will you do now? Let's look at Cain's reaction. It's devastatingly human. And Cain was very wroth, and his countenance fell. He was consumed by anger, and he fell into a depression. He is simultaneously filled with rage at the injustice and with the crushing weight of inadequacy. He is, in that moment, every single one of us scrolling through social media at 1 a.m., feeling that toxic cocktail of resentment and worthlessness. He is every one of us who has ever thought, why them? Why not me? And then, in the most critical and overlooked passage in the entire story, God, or the self, the divine spark, the deep consciousness, speaks directly to Cain. This is not a God from the clouds condemning him. This is the voice of his own deepest wisdom trying to save him. It says, "Why are you wroth? And why is your countenance fallen? If you do well, shall you not be accepted?" In modern terms, why are you consumed by this? You are responsible for your own path. Get up, do your work, and find your own integrity. Your value is not defined by another's success. And then comes the crucial warning, the most important sentence in the story. "But if you do not do well, sin lieth at the door, and unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him." Let's translate this from its ancient moralistic language into a precise psychological directive. Sin here is not being naughty. The original Hebrew word chata is an archery term that means to miss the mark, to fall short, to fail to live up to your potential. Lieth at the door is a translation of a word, robets, which means to crouch. It's a predator, an animal. So God is telling Cain, listen, you're at a crossroads. You have failed to do well, not in your offering, but in your response to this feeling. And because you are wallowing in this resentment and anger, a primal predatory energy is crouching at the door of your consciousness. It desires you. It wants to possess you, but you can rule over it. This is a direct command for shadow integration. God is not saying you are evil for feeling jealous. He is not saying pretend you're not angry. He is saying the exact opposite. He is saying, I see that crouching darkness. I see your shadow. Your job is to confront it, to face it, to rule it, to integrate its power without letting it consume you. This is the call to individuation, the call to become a whole, conscious human being. And Cain fails. The text says he doesn't respond. He ignores the warning. He represses the feeling. He shoves that jealous, raging shadow back down into the basement and pretends it isn't there. And what happens next? The repressed shadow projects. And Cain talked with Abel, his brother, and it came to pass when they were in the field, that Cain rose up against Abel his brother, and slew him. He doesn't rule his shadow rules him. Because he could not or would not confront the problem of his jealousy within himself, he moved to eliminate the source of the problem in the external world, his brother. This is the tragic psychological equation. What we do not integrate, we will project. What we do not own will own us. And what we do not confront in ourselves, we will inevitably attack in others. When you see someone consumed by political rage, attacking a demonized other side, that is a projected shadow. When you see someone obsessed with tearing down a successful person, that is a projected shadow. When we engage in cruel gossip, character assassination, or displaced rage, we are all in that moment Cain. The story ends with a devastating exchange. God asks Cain, "Where is Abel, thy brother?" And Cain gives the most haunting reply in all of literature, "I know not. Am I my brother's keeper?" This is the voice of complete dissociation. He has so fully repressed his actions and his shadow that he is alienated from his own humanity. He is no longer his brother's keeper because he has failed to be his own keeper. He has fragmented his own psyche. His punishment is to become a fugitive and a vagabond in the earth. This isn't just a physical banishment, it is the psychological consequence of his failure. He is now a fugitive from his own consciousness, a vagabond wandering without a sense of home in his own self. This ancient story provides us with a profound, if difficult, path forward. It gives us the antidote to the anxiety of toxic positivity and the destructive nature of our repressed darkness. The story of Cain teaches us that the goal of a meaningful life is not to be only good. The goal is to be whole. Wholeness does not mean perfection. It means integrating all parts of yourself, the light and the dark, the acceptable and the unacceptable. This is what Jung called shadow work, and it is the most courageous and important work any human being can do. It is the only way to rule over that crouching energy and turn it from a predator into a source of power. So how do we do this? How do we practice this in our daily lives, in a world that demands perfection? It begins with 3 steps. First, acknowledge. You must stop judging and start naming. The next time you feel that flash of hot jealousy, that deep resentment, that spike of rage, do not push it away. Do not shame yourself for it. Pause, take a breath, and name it with neutral courage. This is jealousy. This is anger. I am feeling envy. By simply naming it without judgment, you take away its monstrous, unconscious power. You bring it out of the basement and into the light of consciousness. You are no longer possessed by it, you are observing it. This is the first giant step that Cain failed to take. Second, confront. You must get curious about your darkness. Instead of repressing the feeling, ask it questions. What are you trying to tell me? Why are you here? You will almost always find that your shadow, when confronted with curiosity, is not a monster. It is a wounded part of you. It's a signpost pointing to a deep, unmet need or an unhealed wound. Your jealousy of a friend's career is often pointing to your own deep, unfulfilled desire for meaningful work. Your resentment of someone's perfect relationship is often pointing to your own profound loneliness or desire for connection. Your anger at being overlooked is pointing to a deep need to be seen and valued. That crouching predator, when you face it, just wants to be heard. It holds the key to your own individuation. Third and finally, integrate. You must find a constructive path for that energy. The shadow is not just darkness, it is power. It is a massive store of psychic energy. When it's repressed, it's destructive. But when it's integrated, it is the fuel for creativity, passion, and change. If your jealousy points to a desire for meaningful work, can you use that fire to finally update your resume, start that project, or learn that new skill? You are transforming the raw energy of envy into the focused energy of ambition. If your anger points to a boundary that has been crossed, can you use that energy not to attack, but to articulate? To have the difficult, courageous conversation that reestablishes your self-respect. This is what it means to rule over your shadow. You are not destroying it, you are alchemizing it. You are taking the lead of your darkest emotions and turning it into the gold of your conscious whole self. The story of Cain is not a condemnation, it is an invitation. It's an invitation to stop trying to be only good and to start the much more difficult and much more rewarding journey of becoming whole. Your darkness is not your enemy, it is your teacher, it is your fuel. It is the unlit part of your own soul, waiting for you to be brave enough to turn and face it, and in doing so, finally find your way home. Thank you.